So for us, we all have kindness and this consideration to come together. And even though we are different people, we all come together as one heart to recollect the birthday and following conventions. That it's when this body was born, when these four elements came together, that date. And we have this respect in the Dhamma and in the Vinaya. So we should recollect that this was a practice during Luang Por Chah's time as well, and that each year the different monks, his disciples, and his lay disciples would come together from all the branch monasteries in order to pay respects to him and to study his teachings. And they would practice all night. And seeing all those monks and lay people meditating, listening to the Dhamma all night was a very impressive sight. And so the monks and the laity, they have this very deep respect. And they all were devoted to practicing what Luang Por Chah taught them, following in line with his teachings. And through this, many branch monasteries were established of Luang Por Chah's, and one of these is Wat Marp Jan. And so now we'll come together to practice, and it's the 36th year of this monastery. And then from the growth of this monastery, many other branch monasteries of here have been established, and there are 15 in total, both in and outside of Thailand. Taking these ways of practice that Luang Por Man taught, that he passed them on to Luang Por Ginari and Luang Por Thongrat, and then Luang Por Chah inherited them from those teachers. He also made some adjustments himself to the ways of practice through his mindfulness and wisdom. For example, getting all the monks to come together to listen to the Dhamma all night long. This gave rise to much faith, both in the monastics and the laity. And the number of monks and lay disciples have increased and increased. And so we come together like this, just one time each year to come and study the Dhamma, to practice on this occasion of my birthday. And last year we weren't able to do this because of the state of the world, which we're all well aware of, the changes that had happened. But this year we are able to come together through the faith that we have, the deep respect in our hearts towards the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. This is what brings us together in this way. And we come to train and to practice. And this is something that's very important to keep up these ways of practice. And so we see that having respect is one of the highest blessings of life. That the Buddha is limitless, the Dhamma is limitless, the Sangha is limitless, and we have very deep respect for the Triple Gem. So we practice following the teachings, the Dhamma of the Buddha. And through doing this, through a cultivation of our hearts, then we can meet with genuine happiness within our hearts. And so this is something that is very important, developing mindfulness, developing our hearts, giving rise to goodness. Because we all know that we don't stay in this world for a long time. Our lives here are just temporary. And some people may live for 100 years, some people even 120 years. But even though they have very long lives, each day, the time that they have left is passing away. Each day, their bodies are deteriorating. So when we recollect this, then we won't be heedless. So we should try to study our own minds, because these minds of ours, they have this nature of brightness and purity there. And if we have mindfulness and knowing all of the objects which come into our hearts as they arise, then we'll be able to meet with this original purity and brightness. And we'll be able to take care of that, to look after it. If the mind is well established in samadhi, then we can train these hearts so we gain understanding, we gain wisdom, we gain knowledge, able to see the nature of arisings lasting for a bit and then ceasing, and our minds can enter into emptiness. And this is experiencing Nibbana. So when we have these objects of vipassana, those of inconstancy or instability, of stress, of not self, this is what leads the mind towards emptiness. So we train ourselves in this way frequently, seeing all things as just being conventions, all things as being inconstant, stressful, and not self. And the heart becomes liberated through this. So just like our birthdays, you can ask, are these conventions? Well, they are conventions. And in truth, there's no me, there's no other. But it's also important for us to take care and keep on these traditions initially until our minds do become peaceful, until liberation appears for us, until we gain an understanding into the Dhamma, until we gain this genuine happiness in our hearts. So I ask for all of you to gain success in this practice, to meet with inner happiness, to grow in the Dhamma of the Buddha, to always be under the cool shade of the Buddha Sasana, for the laity to be well-founded in this path of generosity, of virtue, and of meditation. And I ask for all of you to practice and develop your hearts, and may you all meet with success, both in worldly things and in the Dhamma.